Okay, I think, yes, we are live. We are recording. So thank you, Julie Ann Thorne, for joining me today to talk about our favorite subject, cats. And this is a really, really fascinating topic for me because I remember listening to an interview that Dr. Karen Becker did years ago about zoopharmacognosy, and it was fascinating the way she was describing this, how this dog was self-selecting stuff. And I don't even remember what condition was going on at the time. But it was just fascinating because they would set out all of these different things and the dog would just sniff around until he found what it was he needed. And or like, what? Never heard of that before. So let's talk about that.
Yeah, it's fascinating. It blew my mind when I learned about it. Just before I answer that on the Facebook Live, you can see a Google box. Is that right? Where you can see that you're recording?
You know what? I'm going to take that off. Yes, let's turn that off.
I'm not sure. There we go.
Yeah, that's better.
Okay. Yes. So it is fascinating. And I didn't even know that it was a thing until how many years ago? Oh, crikey. I dread to think how many years ago. I was doing a diploma in animal healing after I'd done my Reiki qualifications. And the teacher mentioned about a cat selecting a macerated oil to help with inflammation. I'm like, say what? You know, I'm like, a cat did what?
Like, what is that?
And amongst the kind of the diploma, she'd mentioned different things. And it was like, this like little light bulb that was just sort of warming, you know, a glow to come on. I thought, I have to look into this just because I'm puzzled more than anything else. Like, I don't understand. And if I don't understand something, I need to research it and find out information. So I ended up doing a weekend course about cats specifically and self-selection. And it blew my mind. So I jumped straight in with a 2-year diploma to learn as much as I could because my world, it rocked my world, literally. Yeah. I mean, the job I do today, you know, I have like dried herbs online for cats and stuff. It's all to do with that. It's all to do with self-selection. So, you know, it's a phenomenal ability. And I you know, I'm so glad we're talking about it today because I don't think many people are aware of it at all.
Yeah. I mean, zoopharmacognosy is a mouthful, number one, to say, much less understand what exactly it is. What does it mean? So break down the word for us. Let's talk about that, because when you can break down the etymology of the word and understand what each component means and how it directly ties to the subject at hand, it's fascinating.
It is. And it is a mouthful. So, you know, even when you're talking to people about it, as soon as you start to say the word, they're like almost switched off because it's just too long, right? So I use self-selection in replacement, but, you know, it is the same sort of thing. So zoopharmacognosy. So you break it down into zoo, pharma, and cognosy. So basically it's animal, medicine, knowing, which means, you know, the animal knows what it needs to heal itself. And it's not just specific to cats. So like you said, dogs can do it. I mean, you know, cows can do it, horses can do it, parrots do it, monkeys do it. You know, it's not species specific.
Right.
So there's a brilliant book called Wild Health by Cindy Engel, I think it is Engel, I think. And she talks about how parrots will find a certain dust to brush amongst their feathers to get rid of mites. She talks about how monkeys will eat certain fruits before they're ripe if they've got parasites, you know, and so many other examples. Those were just two that stuck in my mind. So, you know, she gives the science behind why animals do it. It's not just to, for example, like I think people potentially think with dogs, they'll eat everything, you know, they'll eat anything and everything. And, you know, that might be true in some cases. And I know for cats, if they've had trauma around food, that might be the case for them as well.
Right.
But there's a difference between food and the remedies, you know, and it's really fascinating when you give an animal the opportunity to choose what they need to heal,
right?
How they can do that. So sometimes dogs will select a remedy that will enable them to purge. It will make them sick because they need to do that to, I don't know, shift a blockage or to, you know, rid themselves of excess stomach acid, or, you know, who knows. But,
Right.
you know, it's phenomenal to see the animals do it. So with cats, their responses are a lot more subtle. So with a dog, you know, you can quite obviously see nostrils flaring, or a selection of a remedy. They lick it, they sniff it, they may paw at it. You know, it's very obvious.
Yeah.
Cats, as we know with everything, are generally more subtle. So you can't usually tell when a cat's in pain. You know, you need to be able to read those really subtle signals.
Exactly.
And when it comes to zoopharma work or self-selection, when you're working with the cat and remedies, it's really about being in the moment and being present with them so that you can observe what they're doing. You can bring a calm energy to the situation, because essentially they're in a healing mode. You know, they're experiencing a healing process. And with cats being predator and prey, they don't lean into it easily, you know, unless it's a chronic situation and they're desperate for a remedy. You know, it can take cats a while to open up to the healing. Sorry, I kind of went off at a bit of a, I could just talk about this stuff all day. So
no, it's fascinating. And I remember bits and pieces of the example that I saw with Dr. Becker, and she was talking about a dog, unbeknownst to the owner, had chewed some, or maybe they did know. I don't remember the details. They laid out all these different things, and the coconut oil, he was just like drinking like gobs and gobs and gobs of coconut oil. And this is a self-selection process. And then all of a sudden he turned around and he started vomiting up stuff that he had eaten that was pieces of furniture that had been lodged in his stomach or digestive tract or something. And they needed the oils to lubricate the GI system enough to help him expel all of this pieces of furniture that he had chewed and chewed and chewed and chewed and chewed and ingested all that stuff. They didn't know. They're like, holy cow, you know? So it was crazy. It was crazy. But that's so interesting. And I've also seen like nature programs where they talk about how certain wild animals will go eat certain parts of soil and clay because of the microbes in the soil, for their probiotics, for their microbiome. And it's like they just know where to go to find certain types of soil or clay because they know what's in it. It's
I know, right? It's fascinating.
They have superpowers, honestly.
The thing is, you know, if you think about us humans, we have it too. We just perhaps aren't as tuned into it, or as perhaps as aligned to it. So, you know, if you've been, I don't know, like my husband and I at the moment, we've got a shell of a kitchen. You know, we've got no worktops, no cooker, no nothing. And, you know, we've been kind of eating as best we can with the functions that we have right now. But, you know, my body now needs vegetables. You know, I need fresh cooked vegetables. I want nice fruit and things. So I know that my body needs different nutrients right now, you know. So if you're on holiday and you perhaps overindulge a little, or, you know, you go a bit hard on the alcohol or whatever, you know that you need a break to heal yourself. You need a lot of water or whatever. So I think we all have the capacity, but we're not really aware of it with our animals. And
really tune in.
Exactly. And what I found fascinating with cats is, you know, I've worked with cats in rescue centers. I've worked with, you know, private clients, and it's all exactly the same. You know, you give the cat an opportunity, and actually it's a beautiful example of giving them a voice. So that's, you know, my purpose, my meaning in life is to help people understand cats. You know, it's to give cats a voice. It's on all of my social media, everywhere. And using the Zoopharm and the remedies is such a profound way to do that, because, you know, you might think that you know what remedy to offer. So you get 1 or 2 out of the kit, for example. And that's our humanness, that's in our head. You know, they're showing X, Y, and Z symptoms. Let me put this remedy down. But what happens is the cat will guide you. And, you know, the reason that I use herbs as well is because they're so soft and gentle. So if a cat selects valerian, I know that we're looking at either they're stressed or they're dealing with anxiety, or they've got internal pain, because it helps with physical pain.
Right.
And then that steers me off to think about other remedies to try. And, it's beautiful to see a cat choose and to make a selection and to see the different responses as well, because with the herbs, for example, you put them down and some cats will rub and roll around and like be upside down and get the herbs everywhere. It's a right old mess within moments of putting it down.
Right.
And you're like, oh, great. They really enjoyed it. And then other cats, like, for example, my Leo, he will sit near it. He won't, you don't even know really the herbs have been disturbed unless you kind of see him there next to it. Because, he's very nervous. He's very timid. So he can't sort of, he doesn't let go like that. He doesn't sort of give caution to the wind, shall we say. But
Right.
I know that he's sitting with those remedies means that he's still healing from them. So it's like humans, we experience things in different ways. We show responses in different ways. Some people are huggers, some people aren't when you greet them, So it's it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful.
That is so interesting. So share with us like some examples of cats having certain conditions that you've worked with and the type of herbs that they may select. Can you use some of that?
Yeah, sure. So I had a client who had a cat that was being sick after eating, and sometimes it was straight away, sometimes it was a bit later, and we were talking about what the options were. So she's spoken to the vet, and the vet had done all sorts of tests, couldn't find anything wrong. This had been going on for about 6 to 8 months, and basically whenever she saw either her vet or a different vet, they were suggesting change the food. That was their kind of go-to response. Bloods were fine, other tests were fine. So she came to me, and the first thing that I did was think about herbs that support digestion. So I've got a digestive herb garden in my shop, and it's got 6 herbs in it. So, we've got peppermint, which is cooling, and ginger, which can be soothing, but also quite warming on the body, and a few others. And the one that he really enjoyed was chickweed. So dried chickweed helps to soothe the digestive tract. So if a cat's got, an upset tummy, they're being sick, or they've got diarrhea, it helps to soothe all of the bits that are involved with digestion.
Interesting.
And when she put it down, I've got a gorgeous picture. It's probably somewhere on my social media. The cat went over and laid with his throat over the chickweed. So he didn't need to ingest it. He didn't need to have it to his, I don't add anything to food because it's all about them choosing what they need.
Right.
And he laid there for about 20 minutes with his throat over this chickweed, and his eyes are shut. He's fast, he's deep breathing, so he's healing from it.
Yeah.
And then we didn't have any sickness. Yeah, we didn't have any sickness for a good few weeks after that.
Wow.
And I just, I found that phenomenal. Nothing ingested, nothing put into the body, but the energy of the dried herb, the fact that he'd put it over, get slightly off topic, but over his throat chakra for me, his energy point as well. It was just amazing, absolutely amazing. So in terms of a digestion kind of example, that's the one that always comes to mind for me.
Wow, that's so interesting. And the throat chakra is where they swallow too. So how interesting that it all kind of ties in right there.
Yeah. So let me think about I've got, when you have so many running through your mind, let me think about maybe a behavior one. Oh, in fact, so I had a client who had a gorgeous cat. She started to overgroom on her tummy. And again, vets couldn't find anything.
Right.
So she came to me and we started with herbs. And she always, the cat would always go to Angelica root. Now, Angelica is really... it's really nurturing. It helps to open the cat up to healing. So it helps with like an emotional imbalance. It helps to balance energy. It's quite a crunchy root, it's almost like you'd think it was pebbles or stones when you get a bag of it from my garden. It's really dense, it's really thick. And she would always lay with it on her under her tummy, but actually like the lower part of her tummy, so like down here.
Yeah.
And to cut a long story short, we used essential oils as well. And from the oils that the cat selected, we found that she had a hormone imbalance. So we went back to the vet, and it turned out that she had nipple cancer, which again, I find phenomenal, because that's where she was laying with those herbs against her tummy, against the nipple.
Wow. And hormonal imbalances can cause cancer stuff. I mean, there's a link to some of that, just like, you know, estrogens and phytoestrogens, faux estrogens are like hormone disruptors that can cause a whole bunch of host of problems in us. Those are fascinating. So tell us some more stories. I love your stories.
Okay. So let me think about what else we have. So I had a gorgeous, fluffy, long-haired, like tiger-like cat called Teasel. And she was shot by an air rifle, not by her guardians. She, you know, not at all by that, but we don't know who by. And so she literally had an entry wound one side and not the other. So it got stuck. Anyway, so he had surgery, had it all removed, was treated with homeopathic remedies to aid her recovery. The vet had said, I've never seen a cat recover so quickly. Wow. She was fine. And then about 2 years later, her guardian came to me and said, you know, we've got some real behavior reactions. So, you know, it wasn't a question of, you know, make my cat cuddly. It wasn't about that. It was the fact that her reactions and her reactive aggression was getting worse. And, you know, her guardian's like, look, I don't understand what's going on. You know, can you help me? You know? So did a bit of animal communication and also a bit of energy work with her. And the first set of herbs that I sent included valerian, so good for physical pain, good for aggression and anxiety, and comfrey, which again is a great herb for joint pain particularly, but internal inflammation, and calendula, which helps with inflammation, and rose, which is really nurturing. So I tried to give a bit of a balance. You know, here's a garden that will hopefully support internal pain if you've got it, emotional pain if you've got it, and try to kind of keep things, you know, get things back in balance.
Right.
So the guardian had never used herbs before. Now, when they get herbs, they come with instructions, but, you know, people are a bit nervous because you're like, you know, this woman's told me to put this down for my cat. If it eats it, will it get sick? That's usually the first thing that people worry about. You know, if my cat eats this, will they get sick? And I always say, trust your cat. Your cat knows what they need to heal. I firmly believe in that. I've been doing this for years. I have never seen a cat take in anything that they don't need, unless it's chemicals, like, for example, antifreeze. But that's a whole other topic we can cover if you want to. But when it comes to botanical remedies, cats will only take in what they need for whatever that may be. So she put down some valerian, some comfrey, and 2 little rosebuds. So, you know, a small, about a teaspoon of each one, maybe just over. And she left the cat and then came back. And within 20 minutes, it'd gone. Apart from the 2 rosebuds, all the comfrey and all the valerian had been eaten. She just snuffled it all, like literally. Wow. So the guardian messaged me and said, should I put more down or should I leave it for a bit? I said, leave it for an hour and see how she is. Just because from my perspective, I wanted her body, her emotions, you know, her different energetic bodies to have time to process what had come in. Because if she needed it that much, that she'd ingested all of that so quickly, there was obviously a chronic situation going on. But in order to have that equilibrium back in the body, it can take time for the remedies to work, you know. So I said, give it an hour. So she came back to me later, said to me that she'd put another teaspoon down of each, and Teasel had ate the lot again. And I was like, fascinating. She was actually pawing at the bag to get more out. So she put a bit more comfrey down. She sniffed at it and then just sat with it. And I said, you know what? She's done now. She's got everything that she needs, but put more down, because she obviously now doesn't need it internally. She needs the essence and the energy, you know, in front of her.
Yeah.
So I mean, I was astounded. You know, cats, they constantly amaze me. Every client I work with, every cat client I teach, I learn something, you know, they constantly amaze me. And I was just like, this is fabulous. Great that she's using the remedies, but also sad that she needs to, you know, she's obviously in quite a lot of pain internally. So, cut a long story short, after about 4 weeks, we were working with the different herbs. We also brought in essential oils because she had trust issues around humans. That was part of where her anger and aggression was coming from. It wasn't towards her current guardian.
Right.
It was the memory imprint of what had happened with the air rifle incident.
Exactly.
So we used a couple of other remedies. So one of the other herbs we used was linden blossom, and it's beautiful. It's really floral. It's really light, and it helps to build trust. And I said to her guardian that I know you've had her for like 4 years, but I feel drawn to share this with you. Let's try to build some trust between her and humans in general.
Yeah.
So the first time that the guardian put down linden blossom, Teasel hissed really badly. And I said, and she was like, well, she doesn't like that one. And I said, do you know what? It's the exact opposite. That is a great release of energy, a brilliant release of energy. And then after she did the big hiss, she had a really deep breath, like from her tummy, deep breath, and then a massive sigh. And then she sat with it for about, again, 20 minutes, half an hour. Eyes closed, almost purring, body softened, breathing slowed down.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So now I had a picture sent to me probably about a week, maybe 2 ago, of Teasel on the husband's lap. And Teasel has never, ever been a lap cat, ever.
Wow.
Absolutely phenomenal.
That is so amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
So now and again, when a guardian, you know, I message, because we don't work together anymore, because, you know, she's doing really well. So there are occasions when the guardian messaged me and say, you know, send me lovely pictures, but also to say, you know, she is a different cat. She's a completely different cat, you know, and if there's been the odd time when she's been a bit out of sorts or she's becoming a bit withdrawn, I advise the guardian, you know, put down these couple of herbs. And she might just need that top up. She might just need that support. You know, if you think about us humans, I mean, I'd love to, but I don't. You know, I'd love to have like a massage every month to keep my body, you know, my muscles loose, my body in good condition, you know. Obviously with, you know, COVID and what have you, haven't been able to do it, but we need maintenance. You know, we need maintenance of our health, our well-being, our spiritual well-being, our emotional and mental well-being. And cats need that as well. So in my opinion, you know, a herb garden, which is when you put the herbs down on the floor, is just as crucial a resource as a litter tray, because, you know, cats like us experience the unknown. They don't know what's coming in day to day. You know, Leo went out today, first time in a week, so he was a little bit anxious. His territory outside will have changed because his scent has faded. After he'd been out for about 2 or 3 hours, I was up here in my office. I heard this god awful cry, went downstairs to find that the other black cat that he has territory wars with had chased him to the back door. You know, so I've put a herb garden down for him today, which are all nurturing. So we've got rose, we've got angelica. I've also got jasmine, which is like a hug in a bottle, you know, in terms of the essential oil. It's very, very emotionally supportive. To help him out for the day. You know, he's in now, but I know that today he's had a stressful experience, so, you know, I've got the opportunity to help him, and if he wants to use it, great. If he doesn't, then that's okay. But the Zoopharmacognosy and you know, giving our cats a choice and bringing these remedies into the home is such an easy thing to do. You know, whether the cats are indoor cats or outdoor cats, we have taken away their capacity to use these remedies that they would, you know, in the wild when they were feral back, you know, however many centuries ago. So it's really important that, you know, we can help to educate people so that they can understand that it's not just about catnip. You know, everyone knows that we can use catnip, but there are so many others you can use that are just, you know, just brilliant to help the cat maintain balance and wellness.
Right. So what kind of herbs would you recommend for a cat who's very dominant in bullying to other cats?
So hops, dried hops straight away, I would say, because that is a hormone regulator. So if there is an imbalance of like testosterone going on, that would be a great one. I'd probably suggest chamomile, which we all have chamomile tea. It's calming, soothing. I would probably bring in emotionally supportive ones. So again, I'd probably say jasmine or angelica or rose. So if the cat's bullying, there's, in my opinion anyway, purely my opinion, we need to look at the reason for that. Is it because it feels threatened? If you think about bullies in terms of humans, they do it as a defense mechanism. So what is the cat defending? What is it? Why is it doing it? Does it need emotional support? Is there a hormone imbalance? Do they need different territory? But yeah, in terms of herbs, one of the herbs I thought about would be valerian, because it's calming. But actually, some cats, a very small percentage of cats, can get quite wired, can get kind of het up on it, and be aggressive because they pass their excitement threshold. And I mean, like, they're quite far past it. So if you're dealing with aggression, I'd try the calming herbs first, calming, nurturing, before you bring in those that are kind of, not sedative, but those that can be excitable. And yeah.
Okay, what about for like boosting a real shy cat to give them a little bit more confidence? Any suggestions on something like that?
Yeah, so violet leaf is wonderful. Violet leaf and yarrow are really they really really support the heart. I can't think of a better way to articulate it, but
like their emotional heart.
Yeah. So if there's a timid cat, they need love. They need love and acceptance and support, and that's kind of what yarrow and violet leaf will do.
Interesting.
And again, probably my go-to is really rose and jasmine. So rose is very yin, it's a very feminine, for like, in general, very feminine remedy. So male or female cat doesn't matter. They've all been kittens once. They've all had a mum cat at some point. So jasmine and rose kind of bring in that emotional support. So if you've got a timid cat, you've got a nervous cat, it's generally about trying to support their confidence, to give them courage. And calendula is another great one. So calendula is brilliant for inflammation, but also boosts self-confidence. It's gorgeous little yellowy orange flowers. It's like the sun. It's warming, and it can also bring out a playful side. So rose and calendula, if you've got a cat that is particularly timid, you can flick the little buds, try and get them engaged in play, because that again in itself will help to kind of bring them out of themselves. So it's like multi-purpose.
Exactly. Okay, so I have a client who has a cat who is obsessed with grass. Like, she goes out every day, like runs to the grass and eats some and throws it up. This is like a daily thing. And we've worked on some health issues for her, mostly immune systems and things like that. And she's eating great food, and she's doing really, really well. But the parent was just like, is there something I can give? Is there some kind of an herb that I could try to replace running out to the grass outside and trying to eat, and throw up?
Yeah. Great question. So my first thought would be nutrition. What are they eating? So if they're on a good diet, let's not go off topic and cover that. So my first instinct would be that the cat is looking for nutrients. So the fact that they're eating, grass, when cats eat grass, there's a couple of reasons for it. One, in terms of self-selection, is because the tips of the grass it's nutrient dense. It's the concentration of nutrients in that sort of top bit of the blade is phenomenal. So it might be that the swallowing and then the vomiting is actually a side effect, because the cat is trying to crunch the grass to get the nutrients from the tip of the blade. So in terms of remedies, I would suggest barley grass and spirulina. So you can get them both as dried powders. So when it comes to self-selection and powders, you've got a couple of ways you can do it. Basically, get a saucer or a tea plate, whatever, a small little flat surface. And there are three main ways to offer it. So dry, so literally just sprinkle some of the powder onto the saucer. Pickle, my previous cat, she would eat spirulina by the teaspoonful that way. She'd have the powder all over her face. We'd have green all over the sofa. And it smelled really funky as well. But she'd have, a little bright green face because she'd be licking the powder. So neat dry powder, or mixed with water. So if you mix it with water, you can either have a thick gloopy paste, or you can have a thin runny paste.
Right.
And then finally with organic sunflower oil. So not the oil you get at a supermarket, because they're mixed, they're blended, they're processed.
Right.
You know, I get my organic sunflower oil from an animal remedy shop, you know, so it is pure organic sunflower oil. And again, a thin paste or a thick paste. So there's really 5 different ways to offer it, you know: dry with water, thick and thin; with sunflower oil, thick and thin. And basically it's a question of finding out what your cat likes.
Right.
So Pickle liked the dry powder. We'd have a couple of teaspoons on a saucer twice a week. It depends how much she would take as to how frequently I would offer it.
Correct.
Then when we had Leo, I did the same. I put the powder down, he sniffed at it and walked away. And then there was this little light bulb, and I thought, oh, I could try it with water and oils. And actually he prefers a very thin consistency mixed with organic sunflower oil. So again, I put it down probably once or twice a month, because Pickle had enjoyed it because she had a lot of joint pain, a lot of internal problems and things. Yeah. So she needed quite a severe immune boost regularly. Leo, he doesn't need it as often. He's a very young cat. You know, we do it once or twice a month to kind of see if he needs it really. Yeah. So that would be my suggestion, is to, you know, try and offer the powders, those 2 powders, barley grass and spirulina, organic if you can get them, and see if he or she needs to take in those extra nutrients somehow, and give her the opportunity to have the concentrated version. And again, you know, leave it down 24 hours and then refresh it and see what she does. You know, you might find that she will go straight to it and enjoy it. You might find you've got to figure out which way she likes, you know, the cat likes to have it. But basically keep offering until there's no selection anymore, because that means the cat doesn't need it anymore.
Correct.
Helpful.
Yeah. Well, you think about it. So there's chlorophyll in grass, and there's chlorophyll in spirulina, and there's chlorophyll in barley grass. So there's definitely a connection there. And I know chlorophyll is so good, healthy. It's healthy for us because it's broken down, I believe, as medium chain fatty acids. Correct?
Quite possibly. Quite possibly. The science behind it all goes out of my head, I'll be honest. I'm all about the emotions and the behavior.
Right. Yeah. That's so interesting. And could someone use coconut oil instead of sunflower oil?
You could do, but I've not found that cats will select that very often.
Okay.
But the thing is, obviously, with the coconut oil, it will change the flavor. So the reason that I use sunflower oil is because it's literally a carrier oil. There are no, in theory, there are no healing properties with it. Whereas with coconut oil, the fats will be different. There'll obviously be a flavor to it, and it could have a different effect on the body. But you know, you could try it. I mean, the whole thing with self-selection, you know, I love my diploma. It was very in-depth. The science modules blew my mind. But you know, with self-selection, it's about trial and error. Try it, you know, try it and see what your cat likes. You know, we had a lot of fireworks here last night, bonfire night. And Leo, again, very timid, very nervous, doesn't do well with noise. And of course, we've had noise all week because the kitchen's been whipped out. I'm like, oh, bud, you know what I mean? Like, you know, it's piling it on you at the moment. So I got a piece of fabric, and I put 1 drop of sandalwood essential oil and 1 drop of hemp and hops together on a different piece of fabric, and just put them on the floor for him, you know. And actually he came out, he sniffed the sandalwood, he went right up to it, he paused for a second, and then he went back into his little kind of cat cave. So I just left them on the floor, you know. And I mean, I won't get into essential oils today. Perhaps we can do that as another topic. Because it's huge. But you know, he may not have done anything with them. You know, it's really about trying and seeing what they're interested in.
Exactly.
I mean, if you're dealing with herbs, you know, your cat will guide you. So when people get one of my gardens, I always say to them, you know, get the cat involved when you're opening the parcel. You know, I think you did a video, didn't you, Pam, of a beautiful cat. Warmed my heart, that did. To see that, you know, you put the little bags of herbs down and you see what the cat does. You know, it'll either sit with one, it will start to chew at the plastic, it'll start to paw at it. You know, put that one down first. Do you know what I mean? You know, they can be more obvious with herbs. And I think when you're introducing it for the first time as well, it's like cats are almost desperate to get to it, you know, because they've not had that in their environment before. So,
Sure.
you know, particularly with herbs, you know, get your cat involved, let them show you or let them guide you to what to try with them first.
Yeah. I have your herbs here, and I wanted to show everybody. This is how they come, a little package. I don't know if you can see that, but yeah. So this is the lemon balm organic, and it's just the herbs. It's awesome. And so you say sprinkle like a teaspoon or so just on a towel or some kind of a blanket or some kind of a fabric, and just let them just kind of sniff through and just see what interests them. And do you have these kind of on your website? I haven't looked. I need to go look. Do you have them like organized by conditions, like for shy, for digestive, for anything like that? No. Okay.
No. So you're absolutely right. So you get basically a towel or a blanket, and that's so that you can move the garden if necessary.
Yeah.
And I would say a really good pinch. In theory, each of those bags is enough for 2 gardens. So it's quite a big, you know, you put down quite a big amount. But I know people put down less because they're nervous. So they put a good pinch down. At least a teaspoon, if not 2, I would say, to start with. And put it in an area where there's not a lot of foot traffic. So, you know, ours is in the corner of the dining room, because remember I mentioned at the beginning, you know, cats need to have space to be vulnerable, to heal. So, you know, put it down where they can take themselves away almost. And on the website, basically, I've got them in they're organized in terms of what they're called. So we've got a digestive one, a pain one, elderly cat, aggression, anxiety, comforting, change in the home, and a general garden. So if you don't know where to start, you know, because there's 10 different gardens, people don't know where to start. We've got a general one, which has got a bit of everything. So it's got normal catnip, you know, I mean, all the herbs are organic, but we've got catnip, valerian, lavender, calendula, chamomile and rose. So it's a bit of everything, you know, a bit of calming, bit of emotional and physical support. And I'm glad that you've got the superb selection box, haven't you? So you've got all 20.
Yeah, because I couldn't decide.
20 herbs.
I decided, well, let's just do the full thing. And I have to tell you guys, I just sat this on my dining room table. It smells so good. It smells so good. I just have to stop and just go, because oh my gosh, it makes me happy just to smell. And they're all together, you know, in their collection or their little bags. But oh my gosh, the whole package just smells amazing.
It's beautiful. And what I love is that, you know, if you wanted to, you know, you could use some of those as a tea for yourself. You know, you could make peppermint tea from the herbs that are in there. They're all human grade. You know, they're all organic. There's nothing bad in there. And, you know, something that you could do for the cats as well is to make a cup of tea with one of the herbs. Use a teaspoon of the herb, whichever it may be. Steep it in hot water, allow it to cool, don't make it too strong. Put the tea down on the floor on a saucer. You know, the cat might like to lick it. I've had clients say to me, I was making a cup of nettle tea or chamomile or peppermint or even ginger tea. My cat came over and was licking the tea bag. And I'm like, well, cool some of that tea, person, and put it down. You know, let the cat lick it, you know? So the herbs you generally put down dry, that's what my leaflet, the information leaflet that comes with it suggests. I generally put down 4 at a time, just so that the cat's not overwhelmed, you know, just so that they're not kind of, maybe their body is saying one herb and the head saying another and the emotion saying another, you know, just to kind of give them the opportunity to heal in a really gently way. And the great thing is this year I've pulled together a calming Christmas selection box. So I've got 10 herbs of those that are the most calming and soothing. I've also got an advent calendar that I've pulled together, which I am just absolutely thrilled about. So, you know, it's giving the cats an opportunity. You know, Christmas is going to be particularly stressful for our furry friends, you know, the majority of them anyway. Some won't be bothered, some will love the extra people and the kind of hubbub in the home.
Right.
I know Leo won't, for example, so I've already got a list of herbs for him. And you know, it's bad enough for having the kitchen done, but I wanted to try to give people, you know, extra support for their cats, so that they know that, you know, if necessary, the cat wants to take itself away, it can go to the spare room on the herb garden or the bedroom. You know, it can sit with some chamomile and some angelica and some rose whilst the noise is and the party's going on downstairs. You know, it's really, just to slightly off topic, but it's really crucial to let them do whatever they need to do. And
yeah,
you know, self-selection, Zoopharma work, it's all about that. It's letting the cat choose. What do they need? We're just the mechanism, right? We're just the thumbs. We're the thumbs that open the bottle of essential oil. We're the thumbs that put the herbs down, you know? We're literally just the thumbs. They're the ones that know what they need, and we just got to let them do it.
That is so very, very cool. Is there anything else you can think of? Any other tips for people? Any other ideas? All right, let's talk about this. What about cats with like cancer or, you know, really serious illnesses? Is there like a specific herb garden that you would recommend?
So if a cat's got an illness, what I would say is always talk to your vet. So the work that I do and the way that self-selection works, it's not prescription. You're not prescribing anything.
Correct.
But out of courtesy with being a good cat mum or cat dad, I would advise the vet that you are using self-selection. You know, there shouldn't be any contraindications of medication, but you need to tell the vet that you're giving your cat complementary treatment as well as any veterinary care or allopathic medicine that they're having. It kind of is a given, but it's just worth saying, you know, is to have that holistic approach. Everyone's got to work together. So everyone needs to be informed. So we have a pain garden, and it has got some brilliant remedies in there. So we've already mentioned valerian, but comfrey and St. John's wort are fabulous. So in terms of, you know, joint pain, muscular pain, any healing that needs to go on with the body. And we've mentioned ginger as well. So those are three for me that, excuse me, are wonderful. You know, we know about them for humans. You know, we know about St. John's wort having, you know, helping with like depression and things, but the actual healing it can have on the body as well is really, really important. I'm just trying to think. Yeah, so in the pain garden, we've got lemongrass and yarrow. So obviously those are the two that help with the heart. Those are the two that help because, you know, physical healing, yes, if you think about bones knitting together or muscles re-knitting together, there is, you know, a cellular level activity, but the mindset and the emotional state of the being will impact healing just as much as the cellular activity. So with the pain garden, we cover physical pain, you know, with the ginger, St. John's wort and the comfrey, but with the yarrow and the lemongrass, it's about trying to support all energy bodies, you know, the emotional, the mental and the spiritual as well. So it's a great garden. It's really popular, sadly, but you know, it's great to be able to put it down. And you know, if your cat's got a cone on or they've got stitches somewhere, you know, you might find that they lay with their stitches over one of the herbs, and again, it's an energetic healing. It's not just about the remedy smells nice and ingesting it and having the healing properties of the remedy that way. It can be just as subtle as the cat sitting on them or even near them, because cats are hugely energetic beings. You know, we're all energy, as I know you work with energy. You're very, very much aware. But just having them there and being near them can be just as effective for the cat as, you know, as taking them internally. So it's a wonderful garden, and it's a great option because sometimes after surgery, or if the cat's got a chronic illness, their mental health will suffer, you know, just like with us. You feel a bit crappy, they're going to be exactly the same.
Exactly. And it's also good to remember that each one of these plants has its own vibrational frequency.
Oh yes.
And so it's not that they need to smell it or taste it or whatever, like you said. They're picking up on the energetics of the plant itself, and their body is taking that energy on. to do with it whatever it needs to be done with. And so that's another reason why it's so fascinating. Like you said, they might sit on it exactly where they need it, that energy to really focus on healing, like you've seen specifically in your clients, which is so amazing.
Definitely. And the thing is with them being dry, so the fact that they're organic, you've got no pesticides, you haven't got the energy of any of the chemicals there, and the fact that they're dry, the energy of the plant is lighter. I can't think of a better way to describe it. It's not as dense, as the kind of the raw plant outside. So people come to me and say, what should I plant in my garden? I'm like, look, I don't specialize in that, because the live plant is very, very different chemical constituents, makeup, properties, effects, all of that is very different to the dried. I deal in the dried because it's so subtle, and sometimes the cat will need a stronger concentration. Yes, absolutely. And that's when we go to essential oils, but like I said, let's park that. But yeah, the energy element isn't to be dismissed, because that can be just as powerful as swallowing it down.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. I think we've become so accustomed to having to take something orally, just in society, take something orally, take something, a pill, take this or that in order to feel better, when it's not necessarily ingestion that needs to take place. It's the energy. Yeah,
absolutely.
It's very cool.
It's very cool.
It's so very cool. Well, my gosh, you've blown our minds. So thank you so very much for sharing this amazing information with us today. And just tell our viewers where they can find you. And I want everyone to go check out her herb gardens online, because they really, really are very cool.
Thank you. So I'm on Facebook and Instagram at Naturally Cats for both of them. So there's no underscore, there's no space. It's Naturally Cats. And the website is www.naturallycats.co.uk. And like you said, if you head to the shop tab, you'll be able to see the range of herbs, the advent calendar, the selection box. And like I said, if you're not sure which garden to try the selection box, or try the general garden. And thank you, Pam, for having me here today. It's a great topic. I mean, I could talk about anything cat related, but self-selection in particular, it's great to be able to share information with people. And just before I go, everybody, I don't know if you're aware, but Pam and I are co-hosting a workshop in 2 weeks.
Yes.
And it's for muscle testing. So this is where Pam came to talk to my community about her amazing talents and passion with muscle testing. And Pam has been really gracious and said to me that she would do a workshop with me. We're doing it in 2 weeks on Saturday. The time difference we will get right, because both our clocks will have changed
be on the
by
same
then.
page by then.
So it's going to be 4 till 6 p.m. UK time, and which is 10 a.m. to 12
noon on Central US. Yeah.
Yes. So I will pop the link in the comments so people can register their space. But
awesome.
I can't wait. So 2 weeks today, we're together again.
I know, it's going to be so fun. I was going to say something else about the, I guess it was muscle testing. I guess when you learn how to muscle test, you can figure out real quickly.
Oh yes, that's what I am super excited about.
Food and all of that. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think that's going to take my awareness and my kind of intuition with remedies for clients and for people to another level. So at the moment, I'm like, I feel drawn to use this one, but I can't wait to bring in that extra element with muscle testing about remedies as well. Fascinating.
Yes, absolutely. Well, thank you so very much. I'm excited, and I can't wait to. For those who are watching or doing this with us, share your experiences in the comments, like what you've tried with your cats and what happened, what was their reaction, over time, or whatever it is, so that people can see firsthand how powerful these things really can be. It's really amazing, and it's just another tool that we can put in our holistic toolkit.
Yeah,
we can't have enough.
We need to have those, right?
We can't have too many tools, for sure.
No, I mean, you know, people, we've all got the capacity within us to help other beings, and it's just a question of figuring out which modality we like to do that with, or like you said, which tool we need for whichever instance it may be. So please, you know, tag me, share in like Pam did in the comments, the experiences that you've had, and you know, I definitely can't wait to get another tool in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. We'll post this video right away so people can go back and watch it. And have a wonderful weekend. And we'll talk to you really soon.
You too, my love. Thank you for having me, Pam. Thank you everyone for joining us. See you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.